it's Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing, the one place where we try to help you help other people by taking innovation, opportunity, and sound wisdom, mixing them all together and turning them into real things like products and businesses. So, okay kids, this is where it gets complicated. Now actually I want to talk to you a little bit today about how to keep things simple and why it's important to keep things simple. And because there's so many inventors out there and entrepreneurs, and a lot of you guys, a lot of times this is especially true with engineers, and it's just part of who you are. I understand it. Hey, I love you guys, better in life, but let me help you with something. Let me help you with something that you're going to struggle with later if you don't heed this information. And that's keeping it simple. Because a lot of times, especially with engineers, you want to complicate things. You want to, you want to add things. You want to add more things to it. You want to make everything this big moving part clock, and you want to just build this thing. And a lot of times it's too many parts, because the more moving parts you have, the more things can break down, the more things can go wrong. I want to talk to you about keeping things simple. And this is in several areas, all through the inventor-entrepreneur process, all the different steps, all the different areas. It's important to keep things simple. Number one, it won't bog you down, because you'll get bogged down if you're just taking, because a lot of times they'll spend all kinds of money and all kinds of time on making something super complicated when really the customer just wanted something very, very simple. And that leads me to my first item here, and that's the demo type. Now, if you don't know what a demo type is, we teach this, and we've got a class on this, and some other videos. We talk about when you're building a prototype, you're really building two kinds of prototypes. One we call the Frankentype. That's that cheap, dirty graveyard of broken products and spare parts that you're building on the cheap to just test functionality to prove to yourself that it works. And then there's the demo type, and that's the pretty one. That's the one that has all the functionality you figured out in the Frankentype, but now you're making it pretty, you're making it presentable, you're going to demonstrate it. That's why we call it a demo type. So when you're building a demo type, don't add a bunch of extra features. Make it what's called an MVP, which that doesn't really stand for most valuable player, although it could be both, because this actually, if you're making a demo type like this, it becomes your most valuable player. But what we call it, what we have it standing for, is minimum viable product, and that just means you've left the extra features off. Don't be one of those engineers, don't be one of those product developers where you've got that remote that's got 100 buttons on it when really the customer's only using about 3 to 6. So don't over-design. Don't start that feature creep is what they call it, where you're just, oh, if I could just add this one more thing. If I could just add this one thing. Oh, but you know, it'd just be really, really cool if we added this too. And by the time you've got this big bloated thing that nobody's going to understand, nobody's going to get, first off, and nobody's going to be able to give you good feedback on it because it's just too much stuff. They get lost in it all. So make the demo type simple. Now the other, which is related to this, is your product design. Now again, if you're one of those engineers and you say, yeah, now if you can just follow these 17 simple steps, don't do that. It will seem like 17 simple steps to you because you love building clocks. You love all the intricacies and all the complicated gears that are all moving in concert, and it's just a thing of beauty to you, and you want to explain to people how to build this clock. All people want to do is just look on the wall and see what time it is. So don't have them nobody's going to follow 17 simple steps. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. All they have to do is push a button and bang, it goes. That's how you have to, that's the approach you have to take for your product design. Now the other thing is your sales message. Don't blind them with science. I can't say this enough. If you give them just too much information, well, if you're explaining to them how to build the clock, All they want to do is look on the wall and see what time it is. You have to design your sales message. Have an escalator pitch. Have an elevator pitch. Elevator pitch is the time you'd be in an elevator. Boil it down even beyond that, and boil it down to I'm passing somebody on an escalator, and I have to tell them as I'm passing them that quick. You have to have really short, powerful, attention-getting, wow moment type sound bites that you have to put together. And this is not easy to do. And the same thing is true, and this is my last point, is your marketing materials. Don't fill the page with text. I've seen this. I've seen PowerPoints like this where it's just like there's no room on the edges. It's just all text. And this is exactly how we came up with the idea. No, don't do that. Because what they're going to do is they're going to go cross-eyed at it and they say, well, this is, too long, didn't read. TLDR. You ever see that at the bottom of a Reddit post where they'll say TLDR? It's too long, they didn't read, and that's what a lot of people do. Keep it simple. Again, back to the sound bites. With text, little text, or big text, big font, not much of it, a little bit of text, and lots of pictures. Pictures will say 1,000 words. It's very true. So illustrate things, talk to the points, stay on the high points. Don't dig down into the weeds. Have the weeds there. Have all the extra. When they start asking questions, you can just pick from this big lot of information that you have. But don't post up a big PowerPoint full of words. And you know what? Especially for people that know your product well, that's the easy part for you to do. You're all proud of it. You say, look, I wrote all this big long thing. And you're real proud of that, but really the hard work, because that was the easy thing to do. The hard work is taking all that text and boiling it down, and boiling it down again, and boiling it down again, until it is one simple, very powerful, very poignant soundbite. That's what you have to craft, and that is the hard work of making it simple. Sometimes it's easy to make it complicated with a sales message, especially again if you're so familiar with it. You just want to tell them everything that there is to know about it. They don't want to know everything. What does it do? What does it do for me? I got my good friend Scott Hine that sells a lot of products on QVC. That's what he says. He says customer wants to know two things. What does it do? What does it do for me? So stick to those. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Again, I'm Don Skaggs. EmpoweredInventing.com is our website. Be sure and check out what all we have going on. kyinventors.org is our nonprofit, our inventor group. We do meetings, workshops. We do some online meetings now that are really cool. So check that out as well, kyinventors.org. And be sure and subscribe. Click that notification bell. Help us build our tribe. And I will look to see you at one of our next meetings, workshops, classes, or on the next video.